Welcome to another episode of Under the Hood. It's me, Matt, as per usual. You want to talk about Rainbow Baby, I hear. So that's what we are going to do today. Here's our session. All right, what do we got? This is a very delicate song as well. I know I said that about Goldfish, but this one, there's not a lot to hide behind. It is a lot of strings, not that many vocals, not a lot of percussion, and not a lot of room to hide. So everything has to be very much in its right place. This song starts with a banjo and an acoustic guitar. Here's the guitar soloed. Here's the banjo soloed. So you can hear they are both playing essentially the exact same thing. The banjo skips a note that the guitar hits, but they are pretty much in lockstep for a little bit. But if we keep doing that for too long, we get bored. So the banjo actually holds it down, and the acoustic guitar kind of starts doing some counterpoint interplay, not the exact same thing, harmonizing with the banjo. And that continues on for a lot of the song. So that's sort of the engine of the song. Here's one fun thing I want to show you. And I hate calling these Easter eggs because I feel like you should listen to the song as a song and not be distracted hunting for little clues and references. But this song is called Rainbow Baby. It is about despair and hope in either order. There's another song that I love that is called A Little Fall of Rain from Les Mis, which I would play for you, but I probably can't because YouTube would probably take it down. But one of the main melodic phrases in A Little Fall of Rain is, I'm going to turn up this glockenspiel and you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to turn it up way too loud. A little fall of rain. And then that melody more or less returns in the piano during the little instrumental part before the final build, outro, chorus, whatever they are. But this one is not the exact same melody because there's another phrase in A Little Fall of Rain. I don't feel any pain, which is a good place to put that in this song, I think. And so you'll hear that in the piano here. Don't feel any pain. And again, not Easter eggs, but they are allusions to another song that you probably don't immediately recognize, but it's in there somewhere. It gets into your lizard brain and makes some sort of connection between sort of the message of that song and the message of this one, which I think is fun. There are not a lot of, I would call them inorganic instruments like synths in this song, but there are a few just for some patty ambience, and I think they're gorgeous. I'm going to play them for you. So that is mostly some affected synthy voices, the glockenspiel, a pad, and something doing a lot of the heavy lifting that is also buried in the mix is the harp. So this is a VST harp. I do not have my own harp. I wish I did someday. It's from East West on the Opus player. It rocks. Shout out to East West for honestly making a ton of this possible. And I'll just play that solo again. Why not? Just lovely. Just really delicate and delicious. And then we have the strings. As you can hear in the record, there are not a lot of percussive elements. I don't think the song works if you have a heavy backbeat. It locks it down and solidifies it too hard. So the kinetic energy, all the forward motion, comes almost exclusively from the strings with some occasional orchestral percussion that I'll show you. But these are the VST strings. As usual, I recorded them all just with the VSTs first to get everything scored out and to hear it in my head how I wanted it. So this is just the VST strings soloed. But we got something even better than VST strings, which is real strings. This is a string quartet, so there's just one of each instrument playing, including the room mic, so I'll play those soloed. Sorry, I let that play way too long, but I was just into it. Couldn't stop it. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that there is a muted track for a French horn here. There is no French horn in the song. I added that early on, but then it sounded too triumphant. If you add a French horn, it's going to sound kind of triumphant, and it did not feel right. It seemed like it weighted down too much. So that's not even in there, but now you know it could have been. About halfway through the song, there's the introduction of a piano to thicken everything up and add some gravity. I will play a little bit of that, not too much. I also included two other piano elements that aren't not real pianos, but they are sort of effects, and one is sort of a pounding low end, and the other one is from Omnisphere, God bless Omnisphere, which is sort of a drumming pattern, rhythmic pattern from inside the piano. Pretty cool. Let's hear how it sounds. And it sounds pretty good. That rhythm also gives it sort of the continued forward motion and energy that I think it needed at this point in the track. The bass in this one was played by yours truly, which means me. I did it because it's pretty easy, and I didn't need to learn how to play the bass better for it. Well, that's almost not even worth soloing. That's just what you would expect it to be. It's just, I feel like everything else is saying something and interesting enough to be at the forefront. So if the bass was doing something crazy, I think it would be distracting. But I'll play that with some of the other elements here. So I'll just solo the bass, the banjo, and the acoustic from before, and then there is an electric guitar in this track that is sort of dreamy, sort of ambient, sort of following the pattern of the banjo or the acoustic guitar every now and then. Ah, wait, I just heard a cool banjo thing that I need to solo now. Oh, fun. A little trill there. So I mentioned there's not a lot of percussion in this, but the percussion, when it comes in, I think is a necessary accent to what it's accenting, I suppose. We've got a timpani, we've got big cinematic drums, concert toms, and cymbal swells. I can't get enough of cymbal swells. I put them in kind of everything. And solo, this will not be deeply interesting, but you can just kind of hear a bit what's going on. I know everybody wants to hear the vocal harmonies. Here's the thing with this one. There are not a lot of vocal harmonies either. This song for me really was an exercise in restraint, getting things out of the way. So you have the lead vocal, of course, in the middle on the top. I put this one in the key of E flat because originally my original demo was in E, which works great, but then I wanted a little bit of power in Mark's lead. And I mean, he's got a phenomenal range, but I wanted some weakness as well. And I thought E was a bit high, D was too rich and too thick, the timbre of Mark's voice would have been. So E flat is where I settled. And I think it works great because in the first verses, when he hits the falsetto, it's just a very lovely fragility. I think that's what the song needed. So you can see here there's a whole stack of mat ha harmonies. That is just my voice. And Joe's voice it comes in, as you can see right here, and continues in the stack till the end. But I think my voice has a characterlessness, which may or may not be a word, that works well as just a pad. And so rather than getting the character of all three of our voices in there, I thought it might be less distracting, again, to just do one voice. Because if you layer your own voice with your own voice, you'll get some really interesting overtones, timbres. I'll just solo that very briefly here. I'll solo one more of my stacks, so these are the backing vocals. And I title things differently in my sessions, whether they are harmonies or BGVs, background vocals. Because for me, a harmony and a backing vocal are different enough that they should be separated, and I treat them differently. Let's see what I used on this. Oh yeah. Shout out also to Universal Audio, because on this one, I used their Capitol Chambers reverb, which is the Beach Boys reverb modeled. And it is beautiful. So I'll play this quickly. Again, that's just me, and I think it's great if you didn't hear that, because that means that I did it correctly. It's texture that I think is necessary, but shouldn't be overwhelming. But now I'll play all of us. You can see there's a lot of my harmonies here, which are doubles. Some of these actually are Joe's too, and I just didn't rename them. But this is the end of the song, and that's where it comes in sort of more definitively.
And every storm is bound to come to an end. Isn't it obvious the sun only sets to rise again? And you'll be surprised when you see the sky. Why don't you open your eyes? Look at the rainbow, baby.
and it just fades out into nothingness. But at one point, we've got, let's see, 16 harmony tracks, backing vocal tracks, in addition to Mark's lead. This one is also interesting structurally. It has 4 distinct choruses, all the same melody, but all of the lyrics for all of them are different, and only 2 verses. Again, I know I say this constantly, but a song wants what it wants. This is the direction that one was going, and especially lyrically, the phrasing made a lot of sense as 4 choruses rather than trying to add a 3rd verse or a bridge or anything like that. And I will leave you with some soloed ambience that I find just beautiful. I'll play the strings, the glockenspiel, the harp, the 2 little synths, and then the piano. So there you have it. That's Rainbow Baby, more or less. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time.